Oh, that's why. Here we go. Wondering why that was off center. Okay. What's up, everybody? Good morning. Welcome to a Friday edition of Morning Scone presented by Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic. Parish Construction and Roofing. If you need an orthopedist, go to Brock. Need a roof? Call Parish. That easy. We've got hats right there. Brock and Parish. There they are. Like best friends sitting back there. Like little besties. Okay, y'all. Good morning. A lot to get to, as always. Fire away with your questions, comments, etc. You probably noticed, talked about it on AFR on Thursday, 5-star wide receiver Dakorien Moore on his official visit to LSU. This is significant for several reasons. So if you're not familiar, Dakorien Moore is out of Duncanville, Texas, teammates with Caden Durham, who just, of course, who signed with LSU and will be at LSU here this summer, starting for his freshman year. Their quarterback, Keelan Russell, I believe, is just flipped from SMU to Bama, hence the Bama is burning segment I did. But Dakorien Moore, so he's a kid from Texas who is the consensus number one wide receiver in the country. By a wide margin. Everyone has him as the number one receiver, and it's by a wide margin. He's the number 3 overall player in the country. Number 1 receiver, number 3 overall player. Moore committed to LSU back in August, and it surprised a lot of people because everyone's always assumed that he's going to Texas. And then last month he flipped from LSU. He decommitted from LSU, and the assumption is he's going to go to Texas, and that's probably what he's going to end up doing. But as soon as he decommitted, LSU went right and saw him like, look, you were committed to us. Let us at least, continue to recruit you, et cetera, et cetera. So, so he agreed, and he is on his official visit to LSU. It started yesterday, and on Wednesday he actually he spent Wednesday evening with Jamar Chase. So that's pretty healthy way to make an impression on a young guy. Have a guy that's a 3-time Pro Bowler, former Blitnikoff Award winner. He's played in a Super Bowl. Was all pro in 2021. NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year. Yeah, let that guy maybe go chat with Dakorien Moore about playing receiver at LSU for a smidge. Maybe that'll be impactful, because the reality is Texas ain't got that guy. I mean, it just had Xavier Worthy and A.D. Mitchell drafted, but Mitchell spent 1 year at Texas after transfer from Georgia. Go call Lil Jordan Humphrey. I mean, come on. So anyway, I think that was significant. And just a couple other pieces here why I think this is really important. Number one, even if you don't end up landing Dakorien Moore, it's important to keep recruiting and to make an impression, because in the portal era, you never know if a player might end up in the portal eventually. And so, as my buddy Shay Dixon has said, finishing second in recruiting has never mattered more than it does right now. And it makes sense, because if you finish second, but you have a good relationship, if that player does enter the portal in a year or whatever down the line, that you could certainly benefit you in the re-recruitment process. And then as I look at the receiver room for 2025, and I know we're getting ahead of ourselves here, but just think about it. This year, Kyron Lacey, Chris Hilton, Aaron Anderson, your transfers, CJ Daniels, Xavier Thomas, all those guys are likely gone after this season. I guess Anderson could be back for 4th year, but all of those guys could be gone. And the only players you'd have returning for 2025 are Shelton Sampson, Kyle Parker, presumably. The freshmen this year, Jelani Watkins, Turner. This is one more I'm missing. Anyway, Kylan, Billiot. That's it. So I guess my point is, LSU has a ton to sell for the receivers for the class of 2025, because man, there's just not going to be a lot of meat on the bone. I assume they'll go hit the portal, but there's not going to be a lot of meat on the bone, skins on the wall going from receivers going into 2025. So LSU's got a lot to sell. Dakorien Moore on campus for an official visit. We'll see how it goes. Okay. Y'all do me a favor, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel. Since I'm not, so I don't, so as not to angry you by misusing a preposition saying subscribe up to the channel, just subscribe to the channel, even though that's YouTube vernacular, but whatever. Facebook, like the Bama Scone page, share the post. We appreciate y'all for being there. Kobe, how does LSU look from your perspective in football? Yeah, Kobe, I think offensively, I expect them still to be very good. I think you will have one of the best lines in college football, if not the best line, 4 starters returning. You have a veteran quarterback, even though Nussmeier hasn't played a lot. You know, he's entering his 4th year. Looked really good in the spring. Your receiving core is loaded again. And I think I'm really excited to see Caleb Jackson get 200 carries this year at running back. And then we anticipate Trey Holly will be back. Kate Durham, Josh Williams is back for a 6th year. So the offense, I think, is Mason Taylor. I mean, I think the offense could be great. They may not be what they were last year, and they'll certainly be different because you don't have the dynamic of a running quarterback. But I think the offense would be great. The question is, how much better can the defense be? I think they'll be better. How much better, I think, is the difference between being 10-2 and being in the playoff, or being 9-3 and in the Cheez-It Bowl again. Okay. Wendell Norman, Jesse Brown. Hey, Dad, good morning. Eli, good morning. Alan's comments about Carr getting a better handle on leadership this year are concerning because it's only year 1 in a new offense, just like last year. It's still taking this long. I don't know, Eli. We might be overthinking that a smidge. I'm less worried about the intangibles. I mean, Derek Carr has been around a long time. He is what he is. I'm more worried about whether or not the Saints offensive line can block for him, whether or not Carr will shrink against the best opponents like he did a year ago. And I told y'all this. If you go back and look up Derek Carr from a year ago, when it happened, and this isn't hindsight 2020. If you remember when the Saints played the Rams late in the season, it was the one game they won late in the year. I'm sorry, the one game they lost late in the year. And it was the only decent team they played. So here you go. When the Saints went on their late season run, they beat Carolina, New York with Tommy Cutlets. They lost at the Rams 30-22, then beat the Bucs and the Falcons. Now that 30-22 loss to the Rams, I said this at the time, like, people are going to go back in hindsight and say, man, Derek Carr had a good game. He was 27 of 40 for 319, 3 touchdowns, and a pick. Now, because history isn't going to go back and watch that game and remember what happened, they're just going to see the stat line. But if you remember that, the Rams were absolutely skull-drugging the Saints. And here you go. Los Angeles led 30-7 with 12:44 to play in the 4th quarter after scoring on 6 of its first 8 possessions. And then when they disengaged, the Saints started moving the ball late in the game. Like, Carr basically doubled his yardage total in the 4th quarter. He was crap the entire game. They got down 30-7, and then late in the game, he put up nice stats, so it's going to look better than it was. It wasn't. That's my point about Derek Carr. I know what he is. Gregory Gordy, Brian Pinton, good morning. Jaleel Dean, what's going on? Damon Gilmore. Brian, who was the first baseman for LSU last year? Can't think of his name on the tip of my tongue. Trey Morgan. Yeah, dude, Trey Morgan is hitting. We talked about in Tigers and the Pros the other day. Trey Morgan's hitting like 450 right now. Trey Morgan presently is hitting. Okay, he's normalized a little bit. Trey Morgan's hitting 359. Well, that's over 2 teams. That's why. That's why. Okay. So it must have been when he was in. Okay, here you go. So in A ball, he was hitting 320. They moved him up to high A. In high A, Trey Morgan is hitting 452. He's played 11 games. In 11 games, he's hitting 452 with a 549 on base percentage. He's slugging 810. His OPS is 1.3. That's just absurd. Yes. So Trey Morgan got moved up to high A, and in 11 games, he's hitting 452. You think the SEC prepares dudes for low A and high A ball? Tiger Diver, Cliff Nelson, Robert Miller, Larry Garner. Hey, John, good morning. Randall, good morning. Who replaced the home runs LSU's losing with Jones and White moving on? So number one, Randall, not a guarantee that Jones moves on. I just want to be very clear about that. Every conversation I've had about Jared Jones, I believe there is an MLB team that is going to draft him somewhere around the top 75 picks, and they're going to offer him $1 million, right around $1 million. The question is, will he take it or will he come back? I think he's going to take it. Because what if Jared Jones comes back and instead of hitting 30 bombs, it's 18 or 20? I don't know, whatever. What if instead of hitting 300, they pitch around him, pitch him differently, and he hits 260? I don't know. Big risk. So I don't know. I'm just saying, well, I don't know what he's going to do. I'm saying my opinion is that Jared Jones will get taken somewhere there in the top 75 picks, probably late round 2, early round 3, somewhere around there, and he'll sign. That's my opinion. If you start to get into round 4, round 5, and Jared Jones hadn't been picked, pretty good indication he's coming back. All good, man. Spurge, what up? Cajun Country. Morning, Matt. Christian Little is another impressive young man. Been impressed with Milazzo and Little this week. Yes, we had Christian Little on the show yesterday, if you missed it. One of the things Little told us is that the injury he had, he said it wasn't a lat. He said it was the muscle that connects to the lat, and it would have been season ending. So even had LSU advanced, he was done for the year. So said he's staying in Baton Rouge to rehab and get ready for the draft. Michael Cook, Bradley and Graphia. Thank you, Cliff. Appreciate that. Let's see. Milazzo needs a weekly segment during baseball season. Dude's an encyclopedia of knowledge. I'd love to do that, man. It's really just a matter of if he's going to be playing pro ball somewhere, So we'll see what the draft holds. If he gets drafted, if he's a senior sign, or if he's just a camp invite somewhere. And tries to make a roster. We'll see. Gregory Gordy, nice seeing Chase and former players supporting the boot and recruiting for the Tigers. Indeed. Brian Broom, Timothy Fontenot. Morning, Matt. I hope we land more again with the help of Jamar Chase. I don't know if y'all saw too, but Peterson, Tyre Matthew, of course, both gave a bunch of money to the football program as well. I mean, they're engaging alums, which is great. All right. Brian, good morning. Glad you were up to it today. Got it. Oh, Brian, it was you who said it. Yes. When I said subscribe up to the channel. Again, I don't know what to tell you, man. You're also not smashing a like button, in a literal sense. You're just like tapping the little thumbs up icon. But that's what YouTubers say. Let's see. Bari, morning, Matt. I was cool about the future of baseball until your interview with Kendall. That nugget about Texas troubles me. So yesterday, Kendall Rogers was on with us, and he said, "Don't be surprised if Texas fires David Pierce, they would make a run at Jay Johnson." Now, I don't believe Jay Johnson's leaving LSU for Texas. I think, number one, he's already won a national championship here and will have every resource he needs to win here. He's got fan interest. You have everything. LSU is the best job in college football, college baseball, excuse me. I would say it's akin to, like, there's a couple of jobs in college football where you wouldn't leave for another college football job, even a great college football job. Like when Nick Saban was at Alabama and Texas pursued him, he stayed at Alabama. Like Michigan could pursue Kirby Smart. It doesn't mean he's going to take the job, right? There's a handful of jobs that are awesome jobs. And, in that sport and in baseball, LSU is the best job in college baseball. So even if David Pierce is fired at Texas, I do not believe Jay Johnson is leaving LSU for Texas. Tommy, good morning from Qatar. That's interesting. Tommy, what you doing over there, man? I think I remember during the around the time of the Iraq War and everything like that, back in 2003, post 9/11, we learned that it's actually pronounced Qatar instead of Qatar. And then the World Cup was there, of course, as well. But anyway, good on you, Tommy. What time is it there? That's halfway around the world. It's 3:54 p.m. over there right now. So about 8 hours. You're about 8 hours ahead of us there, Tommy. Brent, good morning. Ronnie Duga, hope you're doing well, Ronnie. Good to hear from you, man. Kirk, good morning. Cliff, this is an all or nothing year for Ole Miss football. How good are they? And will that be LSU's toughest game? I don't think it's going to be LSU's toughest game, and especially that's in Baton Rouge. But I'll tell you this, man. The thing about Ole Miss, yes, they obviously went and crushed the portal and all that sort of stuff. I was looking at strength of schedule numbers this week. Ole Miss's strength of schedule is 53rd in the country. You want to know why people are high on Ole Miss? You get quarterback back. People are high on Lane Kiffin. You add the portal class you did, and your strength of schedule is 53rd. Yeah. I mean, they should be a 10-win team and should be in the playoff. Justin, how do you feel about the DT room? I mean, I don't think they have an All-American or even an All-Conference player in there. But do they have enough bodies to be serviceable? Yes. And, I just think, the other part of that is you're going to have to rely on Bo Davis to coach up your defensive linemen to get them playing better, closer to their potential, which they did not do a year ago. Losing Jimmy Lindsey hurt really badly, y'all. I mean, Jimmy Lindsey is a really good defensive line coach. I mean, I remember Pete Jenkins raving about Jimmy Lindsey. He's kind of from that same school, right? He's also a great recruiter. And then in fall camp, you lose him, and then John Jancic had to coach D-line when John had never coached D-line. John Jancic's a great coach, and he's been a defensive coordinator in the SEC. He's been around football forever, but he's never coached that position. So ultimately, you had to bring in Pete Jenkins, and you saw improvement, but it's still different when you have that much turnover on defensive line. The thing about Bo Davis is one of the best defensive line coaches in the country. Some would say the best defensive line coach in the country. So I anticipate those guys will play closer to their ability than they did last year. But you just don't have a Walter Nolan. You don't have a Mekhi Wingo, So, but then again, last year you had Mason Smith and Jordan Jefferson and Mekhi Wingo for two-thirds of the season anyway. And you didn't perform. So I think it goes to show you how important coaching is to that whole component. Jaleel D. and Matt, thinking about making it to Vegas for the LSU USC game. Wanting your opinion, how long I should stay, what hotel is the best. So, yeah, man, I have been to Vegas. And I'll tell you all this too. So the team was originally going to be staying at Mandalay Bay Delano, which is sort of across the highway from the stadium. Proximity would have been closest to Allegiant. They have moved. The LSU team is going to be staying at Resort World, which is far, like on the other end of the strip, but it's new and beautiful. Jaleel, I love Aria. Aria is an MGM property, and I think Aria is just next level awesome. So I know our guy, Jason Ramazan over with Mr. Fun's Travel, his charter air hotel, all that, his trip is staying at Aria. So it's hard to go wrong, man. The truth is you can get affordable lodging in Vegas. Like they get you there because they'll give you a really nice room for not very much because they don't want you spending time in the room. They want you gambling. So they want to get you there to spend your money. I've been to Resort World, to Aria, to MGM, Grand, Cosmopolitan, Venetian, I've been to a bunch of them. Anyway, it's really just kind of what experience you want, but I would say Aria. That would be my choice. Let's see. Kirk, the emperor of empty yards. Peter, what's going on? Trivia Carter, what's going on? The Mandeville Culture, good morning. Stephen Miller, good morning. Been trying to figure out if Trey got banged up. Hasn't played since 2 Tuesdays ago. Good looking out. Stephen, when Musso did, I think he did Tigers in the Pros last week with Morgan when he was hitting 450. Let's see. Let me see. I'm not gonna text him right now. I'll text Trey today and I'll ask him. Good looking out on that. Steve, this is 2 days ago. Let me look at. I don't want to sit here and try to dig in this, but good looking out. I'll check today. I'll text Trey and see. Rick, based on his contract, Corey Raymond has a financial motivation, among others, to improve the secondary quickly. Have you heard anything about Raymond's offseason workouts with the secondary? Well, remember, the coaches can't do on-field work with the players right now. You get until spring, and then they can have player-led workouts. But then in June, when everyone reports, they can start having workouts with the strength and conditioning staff. But the coaches can't do on-field work with the players right now. So nothing since the spring. Good question, though. Gary, good morning. Miss Baseball already. Go Tigers. Cliff, Baton Rouge. Stop, Cliff. There are Brock locations all over the greater Baton Rouge area, including Hammond. So, yes, you can get into the Tangipahoa Parish and go to Brock and Hammond. Stop, Cliff. Cliff knows that the folks at Brock have asked me to make sure we promote the Hammond location as well. Jason H., what's good? Brian, seen a proposal was to build a new basketball arena on the LSU golf course. If they do that, when will they play golf? So LSU's golf course is the university club. That's where the golf team competes at U Club. So I guess the LSU golf course, like the one on campus, is basically just like a municipal course. Now it's open to the public. You can go get a tee time and all that stuff. Jason kicks of the day. I'm barefoot again right now. Just got the shower and all that jazz. So, but I mean, I guess I'm probably gonna have something. Maybe I'll wear my Adobe Dunks today to kind of match the sort of pinkish color hue in there. Steve, and only way Jones could improve his stock is if he had protection in the lineup, and unsure I see it. Steven, I agree with you, man. You see that now. I do believe. So I had a really interesting convo yesterday. So the Louisville shortstop, for example, that they're recruiting out of the portal. Like, let's say hypothetically Braswell comes back, which he could. Now, I think Braswell is going to sign. I think he's going to be a late round guy. They've broken it up into 3 days now, so a day 3 guy. And I think he'll sign because he comes back. He would just be a senior sign. He'd lose all his leverage. I think Braswell goes. But if Braswell did come back to play short again, and if you got the kid from Louisville, he'd go play third, is what I was told yesterday. So that would be another bat in the lineup. I am interested about Trevor Schmidt coming in from Fullerton because they seem pretty high on him as a guy like Jones that would play first base and hit homers. So, Steven, what if Blaze Prester actually shows up? Now, I think Blaze Prester is going to get drafted and is going to sign. But if Prester shows up, that's another big bat that you'd have as well. So, could be. But I think the bigger thing for Jones is, like, you're not coming back to work on your defense. And like, what if you don't hit 300 again in SEC play? Then your stock actually dips. So I think weighing it all out, Jones probably signs. Pat Huseman, Deborah Cowart, Abner Neal, good morning. Matt, I agree. You're incredible. Thank you, Abner. That's very kind to you, man. Hey, man, Drew's the best part every day of my life, man. Best job in the world. Cliff, why don't we don't just smash like buttons, we destroy them. Cliff, you're on one today, man. My guy had his coffee today. Okay, Tommy, I work in an oil field over here. Okay, no kidding. Golly, what do you do? I don't know if you have to post comments here, Tommy. I'm interested. I'm curious. So I really find it interesting, like what people do for work and how different industries work. Like y'all see Brian on here every day, who's in a different city every day when he's here. Well, Brian drives a rig, and so he's making runs all over the country, and I find that fascinating, man. I mean, you live life on the road, and we talk about it. America moves by truck. It's just such an important part of how goods are shipped and processed to us. It's so anyway, I think it's fascinating. So the fact that Tommy's working in Qatar in the Middle East in an oil field, I think is fascinating. Oh, there you go. Kevin Boudreaux, stationed in Qatar for 7 months during war. God bless you, Kevin. Man, thank you for your service. 7 months in the Middle East, man. In a war zone. God. Whew. You have my respect, man. Absolutely. Bubba, good morning. Peter, kicking this dead horse again. Not having standard-sized baseball fields in an era where teams play in multi-million-dollar and billion-dollar stadiums. Not some random farmers back 40 is stupid. I agree with you, Peter. But you and I are in the minority. So I am all for parks having their own character and charm, but I do believe there should be uniform dimensions to a baseball field. Like there's uniform dimensions for the pitching mound and and the distance between the bases and the size of the bases. And like, so why is it 310 to right in some places and 345 in others? It just doesn't make sense. Carter, I deployed to Qatar in 2019. Go Tigers, go Air Force. All right, Carter. Hey, man, thank you, man, for your service. That's all. Look at you guys, man. That's freaking phenomenal. God bless. Ronnie, you got it, man. Switching from Baltimore to MD Anderson. All right, Ronnie. Be a little closer to home, man. I mean, I know you know this, but MD Anderson's awesome. I'm sure Baltimore is as well. But boy, I mean, we just, we lived in the Texas Med Center for 9 months with Drew. And I mean, it was across the street from MD Anderson. Texas Children's was across the street from one of the MD Anderson towers. I mean, it's a compound. But yeah, man. We'll keep you in our prayers, Ronnie. Onward and upward, man. Go really good morning. Christian, hypothetically, if LSU, Bama, Tennessee, and Ole Miss all go 10-2, how does the playoff situation shake out? I think they all get in. But I don't think that that's realistic, especially with LSU playing Bama and Ole Miss, Bama playing LSU, Tennessee, Ole Miss playing LSU, Bama. I just don't think it's possible that all four of those are going to go 10-2. And then remember, you've got Georgia, Texas as well. So I think you'll have 3 SEC teams in the playoff. I think in a stretch year, you might get a 4th, but 3 is going to be a pretty common year. And I think most assume Georgia, Texas will be 2 of those. So the question is, if it's Georgia, Texas, then who among Ole Miss, LSU, Bama, Tennessee, Missouri is the next one, right? Barry, what up, Sconers? Bama burning blew my mind, SMU. Dude, the funniest part about it, Barry, so I did Bama's burning the other day. Somebody else saw it. And go watch the full segment. Don't watch the little 60-second short. I mean, that barely does justice for the whole segment. But Bama flipped a quarterback commit from SMU. And so I was basically laughing at Bama for, they had Julian Sayin last year, who was the number 1 player in the country. Nick leaves and Julian Sayin flips to Ohio State, and Bama didn't sign a quarterback. Now for this cycle, they just flipped a kid from SMU. And so I was laughing at him because SMU hasn't had a quarterback drafted since Garrett Gilbert in 2014. And before that, the last time SMU had a quarterback drafted was 1981. Like, so Bama's out there pillaging the former American Athletic Conference, I guess now in the ACC, SMU for their quarterbacks. What would LSU do if Jay Johnson left for Texas? That would suck. Yeah, I don't think he's leaving, Randall. I think you always want to have a backup plan. But again, with what LSU is willing to pay, the appeal and allure of the job, I think LSU would be just fine in their search for a new coach. But I don't know. I don't know who would be on the short list. We demand that Bama's burning. Dale, we're booked at RE. It's our favorite. There you go, Dale. There you go. I might be at RE too. We'll see. So just as a heads up, so for the Vegas trip with USC, we are scheduled to be doing all of our shows, if y'all want to make plans accordingly, Friday. So we will be at the Sportsbook. The MGM Sportsbook has a studio inside of Mandalay Bay. So that's where we'll be doing our shows, in the studio inside of the Sportsbook at Mandalay Bay. We are working on our lodging and how that's all going to work out. Actually, one of our viewers, I won't mention his name, I don't know if you want me to, is kind of helping, who works at MGM, is trying to help us with accommodations and all that sort of stuff. And then we're still working on travel, just because we have opportunities like to fly, like Mr. Fun, for example, our buddy Jason Ramazan, the LSU Alumni Association, and then Jason Ramazan both have trips where you can do charter air, hotel, all that stuff. And we were thinking about going with them, but the problem is they're leaving on Friday, and it doesn't make sense for us to leave. For us to make it make sense to go, we have to do shows in Vegas. So we're going to have to travel on Thursday to be able to do shows Friday in Vegas. So we couldn't leave Friday, right? So we're going to do our lineup of shows Friday in Vegas. We'll do some specialty shows Saturday. Sunday, of course, we'll have Eagle Game Day pre and post, whiskey and wine after the game as well. And then to be determined if we do shows Monday in Vegas, come home Tuesday, or I think most certainly OTB Monday after the game will be in Vegas. I mean, unless if the game ends, we put them on a red eye and then they just do their show in Baton Rouge Monday, which I don't think is going to work. So more likely what will happen is Monday, OTB will be in Vegas. I may get on a red eye home and do my show Monday in Baton Rouge, or I'll do my show Monday in Vegas and fly home after my show Monday and be back and ready to be in studio Tuesday. So we got a little bit of logistics we got to work out, but just know that if you're going to be in Vegas, we're planning on doing all of our shows inside there's a built-out studio inside the MGM Sportsbook at Mandalay Bay. So that's where we'll be. Matt Lusto, wish Vegas didn't stink now. Almost booked it. Can't walk more than 50 feet without hitting a cloud. Oh, you mean like literally stink? Let's see. Oh, I have got to get going. I have a call at 8:15. I have a call in 2 minutes. My goodness. Yeah, Jaleel. Or I didn't go to Orlando last year, and look, man. I'm tired of going on these trips and watching LSU lose, man. Up to Lambeau, watch them lose. Out to LA, watch them lose. Yeah, man. Like, need these dudes to pull them a win. Yes, Terrio is on air today. I agree with this, Stephen. Very anxious to see what I can't say the little Pearson, the younger Pearson plays. I agree with you. I don't think he's a quarter outfielder. I think DH is a very real possibility next year for John, right? John Pearson. It's going to be interesting, man. They are going to have a lot of talent. I mean, they always do, but I think portal is going to be pretty key as well. So, all right, y'all, my apologies. I'm sorry to jump. I know Noah said Celtics in 5 or 6. I actually picked the Celtics in 7. One of the most common things you see with best of 7 series is one game overreaction. So the Celtics route Dallas in game 1. People, they'll sweep them. Anyway, okay. I got to go. Y'all have an awesome day. And LSU Daily is already live. We'll see you for AFR 3. Terrio is here today, so we're looking forward to that. My apologies for jumping, but I got to hop on this call in 1 minute. So y'all have a great day, and we'll see you for AFR 3. Shout out to – oops, did I forget to put my logo up there? Doggone it, I did. What happened there? Brock. Parrish. Need North Peace, go to Brock. Need a roof, call Parrish. Y'all have a great day.